The Square Ball Podcast.
Hello there, welcome to the show. It's brought to you in association with Levi Solicitors, who will proudly offer you a 10% discount as a listener or viewer to this show. levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball, where you can book one of their many amazing services, Michael.
I was recommending their services, yesterday. Funnily enough, Lucy's friend, he's buying a house, and Lucy asked me if I had any recommendations for...
Which one's Lucy? Is that your girlfriend or your wife?
It's the wife one. It's the wife one. Yeah, she asked me if I had any recommendations for a solicitor, and I was like, you're joking. People actually shout this at me as I'm down the street. This is how little she knows about this podcast. I was like, we've been sponsored by solicitors for several years.
What does she think you do?
Don't know, really.
Yeah.
Just talk about football, which is kind of true, but, it goes off in different directions, sometimes a legal one. But yeah, I did recommend Levi Solicitors, and I said you can get 10% off if you mention the Square Ball podcast. And she said, can you get it even if you don't listen? I said, yeah, you can. Yeah. It's come from me.
Tell your friends. levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. For that one, thanks to Levi's as well for their support. Into 2024, New Year. Happy New Year to everybody, to all concerned. And in New Year's honours is Wilko's OBE, former Leeds United manager, former England manager, former FA technical director, League Managers Association head honcho, Wilko. And we've done an extended piece on Wilko on this week's members show, which will be coming out after this in the next couple of days, where we talk about his legacy, the OBE, trying to explain to American people what an OBE could possibly be about. We've spoken quite extensively on that show about that, Michael, so as has Moscow, but you're not on that one, Rob. So as somebody who's very much post-Wilko, how do you view Howard Wilkinson?
It's a weird one. I think that whole era, obviously, read a lot about it, heard a lot about it, heard you lads talk a lot about it. And it wasn't necessarily until we got promoted under Bielsa where I could finally understand, oh, that's how you guys feel about Wilko, or, watching Pablo. And I'm like, oh, so that's why you feel like you do about Strachan. Because it's funny, I bought a load of old issues of the Square Ball from the early 90s off eBay. And you read some of them after the title-winning season, and it's like, oh, Lee Chapman's done, Strachan's done, Wilko, what's he doing? And it's a bit, you look back and you think, bloody hell, what an ungrateful set of bastards we are. And then, when we went through our promotion season under Bielsa, it's like, right, I get it now, and it's amazing.
Yeah. No, absolutely, yeah. There's an interesting point made by Phil on the post-Christmas show where Phil sort of said, actually, as a football fan, your mind tends towards the negative, where you think when you lose, this is the real Leeds, this is the real Hearts, as it was in Phil's case. All that good stuff that went before it was just a mirage. It wasn't real. This is what we're really like.
You even get it listening to the Man City fans now.
Yeah.
Them going, oh, we're trash, we're done, we're finished as a team. It's like you won literally everything last year. So, no. And you're at a point off top and probably will win it anyway. So just learn to live with it. It's fine.
Yeah, that is something I've tried to do as I've got older, is appreciate the here and now. And I wish I had that presence of mind when all this Wilko stuff was going on.
You say you're appreciating the here and now. How miserable were you after that West Brom game?
No, but I'm aware of my misery. It doesn't. So when you're aware of it, you can look at it and go, oh, this is stupid. This is really, really stupid and juvenile. I shouldn't be letting it affect my mood like this. And do you know what? I'm not going to let it affect my mood like this, but it still affects my mood completely. And absolutely flying after the Ipswich game, down in the doldrums after West Brom. But at least I'm aware of it.
You can rationalise it, but still feel it.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't be feeling like this,
but it does lessen the effect of it a little bit.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And life events as well make you realise that it's all just a daft knockabout, isn't it? Having kids and when Sam, my little lad, was in hospital, it's that's kind of the important stuff, not this.
Yeah.
And yet this consumes me in a way that that is absolutely pathetic as a grown man. But yeah, I'm really glad to Wilko for his legacy. And one of the discussions we got into is, how do you commemorate him now? And we should do it now while he's alive to appreciate it, whether that is a statue or whether it is the training ground, if they do upgrades to that, or maybe move or whatever it is, or rename it, just commemorate it in his honour, whatever it is.
Oh, the Radrazani has already offered to name it after Bielsa, hasn't he?
Yeah, which, I love Bielsa with my very soul, in a way that I don't think I've ever loved a Leeds United manager since or before. And yet, that honour should go to Wilko.
I don't think Bielsa's written back to Radrazani, has he?
No.
He's not answering the text.
And I think if he does, you'll find Radrazan is not in a position to name that training ground anymore. No. So, well, I think naming it after Wilko would make a lot of sense, really, because none of it is there without him.
Well, we talk about that, and we have quite an expanded discussion. It's about 45 minutes or thereabouts, wasn't it, on Wilko over on the members show this week. A little change of style and pace there over on that one. Have a look for that one. If you're a TSB Plus member, you will find it in your feeds. I think Saturday, I'm going to say, ahead of the FA Cup game. Elsewhere, we've been in the Mail. Great bunch of lads. Daily Mail. Sometimes.
I'm not an avid reader.
No.
Yeah,
there's another puff piece in the Mail. Is it the same journalist, we think, Rob?
I think so. It's Mike Keegan this time, who I've not bothered to check because I don't want to read the last piece from the summer, but I think it was him.
Yeah, and it's another puff piece, but again, you sort of scan your way through the article. It's also about the 49ers and Levi Stadium being data-led, the new appointments at Elland Road. Yeah, fine, all stuff we knew. But then there are details as you start to get sort of 3/4 of the way through about the priority in this window is to sign a left back. They're talking about substantial squad changes if and when we make it back to the Premier League. Tram transport hub. I mean, the tram it's a bit Springfield monorail, isn't it? The tram in Leeds.
Leeds is not, as a city, is never getting a tram. Leeds United are never buying left backs. It's lies. Will
we get the 55,000 seater stadium that's discussed in this article?
Oh, we're going to build a new West Stand. We're going to have a tram. We're going to have a left back. All complete fiction. These are things that have been talked about since I was a child, and they're never going to happen. It's fine. We're going to have Tony DeRigo, a bus, and an asbestos-filled West Stand.
You Normanson, you're the problem with Leeds United.
Do you think I've held back the public transport in Leeds?
Yeah, your cynicism is what's holding this. The only thing holding back all this stuff happening.
I mean, it might happen.
But it's nice to know they've got ambitions, though.
I was going to say, Michael, you're a big advocate for public transport, given after the live show you made me and Flora walk back into town with you because you refused to pay for a taxi, which I think me and Flora would have happily paid ourselves. But
that was from Wellington Street, so by the old Yorkshire Evening Post building, just slightly beyond that towards Armley.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with the sex shop,
a good walk.
The sex shop Pulse and Cocktails, which obviously I know you're a regular.
Well, it's Christmas, wasn't it?
Getting something for your mum.
A few things for the family. All the mums. Yeah. All the mums.
And then you walked from about there, at the edge of Armley, to Mojo.
We could have got on a tram.
Yeah, if one existed.
Yeah. But legs exist, so I used them.
Or the monorail.
Did, though, very thoughtfully get some cans for the journey.
Well, you got 2 cans between 3 of us.
Well, I thought I was walking by
myself. And you had one yourself.
I thought I was walking by myself, so initially both cans were for me.
You can have the dregs of mine. What a guy. You're such a good host. I can't wait to come round and experience Christmas at yours. Yeah, I haven't got a can for you, but you can have the leftovers of mine.
The likely lad's bitter. He said, offer you a can, but I've only got 6.
Yeah. Have you ever seen somebody marching around a nightclub at kicking out time, drinking the dregs? I've seen that.
I'm not doing that. Not around a nightclub.
No.
Risky. Far too risky. There might be pissing all sorts in those pint pots.
Or worse. Maybe not worse. Anyway, we got sidetracked. But like I say, it's a bit of a puff piece. There's no great kind of searing journalistic analysis in there. But then again, it is the Daily Mail, so you wouldn't expect that. But just interesting to see these details being dripped out via the same means as we saw earlier on this year.
I said this in the summer, but can they not just tell us or do an interview? I just sort of think, isn't that a much easier way of doing this? Just be like, yeah, we'll speak to you.
Well, the problem is if you go on record as saying we're going to do this, this, and this, it's then held against you. Whereas if it's dripped out via a friendly journalist or whatever, or an article that is going to get clicks for the newspaper website in question, then it's easy to do that because it's arm's length, isn't it? It's a step removed. You're not going on record and saying we're going to build a big data room.
It's essentially how the government do stuff, actually.
Yeah.
Just tell some friendly journalist what's going to happen, then they actually announce it or discuss it in Parliament and stuff. So,
do you want Parag Marathe at the dispatch box? Explaining exactly what he's going to do.
I want him down on the beach, stopping those boats.
Right.
It was the Mail. I assume they put something in about that. Probably did.
So there's that. Luke Ayling being linked to Middlesbrough and Big Sexy Parisien, potentially. Our centre-back, Pascal, being linked to PSG.
I mean, he should by rights live in Paris.
I think, did he go there in the summer?
Oh, he did actually,
yeah. I'm sure there was some pictures of him looking sexy in Paris.
Yeah. It'd suit him. I can understand it as a move.
Yeah.
That he should be around other beautiful people rather than the grizzled bastards of Leeds. Which we're part of, to be clear. I'm
not setting ourselves apart
no,
from
God,
that.
no. God, no.
Dear God, no.
I mean, imagine having to stand next to Pascal and have a picture taken.
Yeah.
You
It'd be
wouldn't,
awful.
would you?
It'd be awful.
Looking up at him.
Him looking all broad and handsome.
Hello, Mr. Stroke.
Us all fucking chins and shiny heads.
What? Luke Ayling being linked to Middlesbrough? Oh, it's so sad, isn't it?
It is sad. I don't think I'm ready for him to go, to be fair. It's up to him, isn't it? Like,
I think that's where I've got to with it.
if you're happy to hang around and just be a good bloke at Leeds, I'm happy for him to still be here. I did write in the Daily Email, there might be a chance for one last cartwheel. You never know. And also I do think his kind of experience and know-how probably is valuable off the pitch. It's difficult to say as a supporter because we don't see that impact, but Farke has been talking him and Cooper up when they've not been playing. And I just sort of think, just keep him around until the end of the year.
He has a hype man. It's fine to have a hype man in your dressing room, isn't it?
But another reason I think we should keep him for a bit longer is because we don't play a home game for ages.
Yeah.
And if we're going to sell him, he needs to be able to come on for 5 minutes and have at least have a little
Cameo.
a little round of applause and stuff. Because I feel sad that he might just leave
Right.
and then we don't see him again.
Football's like that, though, isn't it? It rarely affords you a nice exit.
And I'm aware it's
one day you just go out the side exit, don't you?
ridiculous to say we just need to keep him for another couple of weeks so we can wave at him. but I feel like that is what I want.
We want to pay you tens of thousands of pounds a week just so we can feel a bit emotionally better.
Yeah, exactly. I suppose we were just talking then about how, a couple of years after winning the title, everyone wanted to put all Wilko stuff in the bin. Got to remember sometimes, Ayling, I don't think Ayling should be in the team. He's clearly now...
He's not in the team, is he?
He's going to say he's clearly now fourth, fifth choice at right back. He's probably equally about fourth, fifth choice at centre back. So he isn't going to play. But it's not long ago he was amazing.
Yeah.
The two years in the Championship under Bielsa and then that first year up, he was almost getting in England. He was talking about getting in the England team at one point.
Yeah.
Like those few years were so far beyond anything Luke Ayling probably expected of himself, and we expected of Luke Ayling, even though he was always sort of decent before then. But what he managed to pull out of himself in those years was just unreal. That's a horrible image, isn't it?
Just going in there with a gloved hand.
Crikey.
But yeah, no, he did, and
but it has left him broken.
I'm not surprised. Very big hands. I was going to say, I think a theme I might have touched on before is that when you analyse what happened with like Bielsa and why so many people, maybe if it is, being over a particular age, and you came to understand the relationship with Wilko, Rob, through analysing Bielsa, it comes down to connection, doesn't it? Being connected to people. And there's a great deal of the squad right now that we feel connected to. There's so many lovable like people in there. Some little bastards as well who've done some turncoat things, but we're learning to love again. But we feel an emotional connection to Farke up to a point until he spoiled it recently over Christmas, and then, but the players as well. Whereas if you look at the squad last year, there was no connection there, and I think that's what, when you analyse the Bielsa era and the players that were in it, there's a connection. It's about human connection, isn't it? And none more so than Luke Ayling. So it always feels sad to break that connection or to think that it's coming to an end. I mean, it doesn't have to end forever, but
the deep connection as well, because as much as we love Rute, for example, now, it's very much like we're in early stages, aren't we? We're just excited to texting each other.
It's infatuation.
Exactly. Whereas Ayling and that crop, you can go, actually, no, there was meaningful thing there. There was a thing was achieved. It was a journey. It was this whole unfolding. It was the ups and downs of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's keep him.
It's one of the things I get frustrated about reading on social media, though, is that when you see fans who are kind of thinking like a manager or a chief exec, and they're going like, we can't be sentimental, and I think, well, no, we absolutely can. We're football fans.
Football is built on it.
Yeah, the whole deal of the reason we go to Elland Road every other week is because we are hugely sentimental about these things. So yeah, let's just let him hang around for a bit longer. And also, I think, the season after we finished 9th, we said bye to Pablo, Berardi, Alioski, 3 players who were like enormous characters in the squad, and we spent the following season going, oh fuck, we really missed their just know-how and experience. And you sort of think, he's got a contract till the end of the summer. Let's use that experience for another 6 months. It might be valuable.
Even if it's just saying things in Archie Gray's ear.
Yeah.
Not pouring poison in his ear, saying, you little bastard, I hope you break your leg. But like,
Liverpool are interested.
But no, just telling him, how to be a competent right back. Because even if his body's failing him, I'm sure he understands what's involved in the job. It's not like you suddenly lose all your nous, is it?
Yeah, but equally, if he wants to go and play football, fine.
Yeah.
Which is completely understandable as well, because he's not getting any younger, is he? And potentially, and we've seen him recently, he's not been great, but maybe he needs to actually play more to get back into the groove with it and to get full match fitness and, try and get back to somewhere close to where he was a couple of years ago. So if he wants to leave, I'm happy with that. If he wants to stay, I'm happy with that as well.
Just going back to the Big Sexy Parisien, because we lumped both of these two in together, where's this price of between 30 and 60 million being talked about?
The internet.
Right.
I think, was it L'Equipe that reported that PSG were interested, but they couldn't afford what Leeds were asking? But that whole thing was saying, so they've signed another centre-back. So I don't think we're going to be seeing him playing with Mbappe anytime soon.
It felt like a bit of a strange, almost a strange move, isn't it? Because clearly there's a good player in there somewhere, but we've also seen kind of the worst of him over the last couple of years in much the same way we saw the worst of a lot of players in the last stages of the Premier League era. So I don't know.
I must admit, I don't see him as being that level of player.
Maybe we're wrong.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
He's good, and he's certainly good in the Championship. But for a team desperate to win the Champions League, he doesn't seem like he's the missing piece for them. You wouldn't have thought.
I'm guessing they wouldn't sign him to be their first choice centre half. But then we do kind of forget that, when he got to the World Cup last year, he was on the fringes of the Holland squad. Like, he's not been doing badly. I know by the end of last season, I was a bit like, should we just sell him for his own sake? I think he needs saving from us. But he's been great this season. I like him.
I suppose that neatly dovetails into talking about Brenden Aaronson, then, doesn't it? And the fact that he's been given a 6-month driving ban, the naughty little sausage. Is it Harrogate magistrates have banned him after he had 10 points on his licence. For anybody who's abroad, you're allowed 12 before you lose it.
It's some going, is that?
Yeah.
In a short period of time. Because he was only in the country for a year, wasn't he? It's good going.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so, you get 3 points. A speeding fine is 3 points, isn't it?
A standard one is, yeah. But then if you don't send like your documents back in time, or you've exceeded it maybe by a certain amount, you can end up getting 4.
Right, okay.
So they'll extend. So it sounds like he's maybe got 2 3s and a 4 points, which totted him up to 10. And then, when you cross 12, that's when you're getting to lose your licence territory. You can actually retain your licence on 12, but you need to be in court for it and like plead with the magistrates and say, I need my licence for my job.
We've seen how well Brendan's pleading goes with referees. Yeah. Probably would be similar.
It is. It's the most Brenden Aaronson thing ever to get banned from driving for doing 37 miles an hour, isn't it? It's like...
Yeah. 37 in a 30, wasn't it?
Oh, dangerous. That's a dangerous speed.
Yeah, you were going to say could have killed someone, but he actually could have done.
Could have killed someone.
He genuinely could have done. And I know you were making light of it, but he could have done. So don't speed.
Don't speed. Well, Brenden won't, will he, anymore?
No.
Unless he's going to go down the route of many a footballer before him and just drive without a licence.
Yeah.
It's so weird, isn't it? Because if I was a footballer earning that much money, I would just pay someone to drive me everywhere.
So I just had the exact same thought. Just have a driver.
Even if I was going to just like the shop down the road, I'd be like, yeah, driver, come on, we're off.
I'm aware from like living and working in Newcastle previously, having friends up there. They're like, which player was it that just did not give a shit? I cannot for the life of me remember which player it was. Oh no, it was St. Maximin. That's it. Alan St. Maximin just used to go park anywhere on double yellow lines. Just didn't give a shit about the tickets because it's a 30 or 40 quid ticket.
It's not much, is it?
Go to the pharmacy or whatever, double yellows, just park outside it. Stroll in, ticket. Yeah, fine. I'll just pay it. It's irrelevant. I'm earning 70 grand a week.
John Terry was done for parking in disabled bays, wasn't he, a few times?
Yeah.
I was going to say, didn't Jermaine Pennant, was he like on loan in Spain or something? He just left his car like parked somewhere randomly.
He was like the train station or the airport, I think, wasn't it? Just forgot about it. Someone was like,
Someone
got in touch to me. You don't off your car, right? And he was like, oh yeah.
Imagine not giving a shit about like a 30 grand car or whatever. Just forgetting.
I dare say it was worth a lot more than that if it was Jermaine Pennant's, because 30 grand's like a fairly standard Mondeo or something these days, isn't it? So
what's the cheapest car you've bought?
It was £600.
600.
600.
How long did it last?
6 months.
Do you feel like you got value for money?
I didn't spend anything on it, and then I got $250 for scrap.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right, is that, I'd say.
Finally, then we need to say congratulations to Luke Humphries for beating Luke Littler in the darts, which it actually captured the imagination of people around the world. I had people on the west coast of the States like messaging me about this, like, is this like what British sport's like? I was like, yeah, this is what it's like. That was fun. So Humphries is the Leeds fan who is, I think he's 28, Luke Humphries, and Luke Littler is the one who's 16 but looks 48.
And is a scum child.
Yeah. And I did enjoy that. Was it a Facebook posting of Leeds are falling apart again, which was from June 2023. which surfaced immediately upon the conclusion of the World Darts Final. But it was an incredible final, and it was nice to see such juvenile partisanship emerge around this. Like, just destroying the dreams of a teenage boy.
We really came together as a fan base to tweet, make him cry. Go on.
I wasn't actually watching it, but I got so sick of seeing people tweeting about it and WhatsApp lighting up about it. I was like, I'm going to have to put this on for the last bit. So I'm basically the biggest Glory supporter going. I watched none of it.
You John Terry'd it?
Turned it on for like the last 15 minutes. Saw him win it. I was like, there we go. Lovely. 100% record watching darts. It's good. But I must admit, I do find it fairly engaging, actually, surprisingly.
It's a remarkable and unique experience, isn't it? It's kind of a... Does your mind go to like smoky back rooms in pubs when you think about it? And yeah, it's in the grand hall at the Alexandra Palace, and it is effectively turned into a gigantic pub.
Of everyone watching about 5 square centimetres on a board that is miles away from them. It's like you're basically going to watch it on telly, aren't you? Because you can't see the darts actually hitting the board.
Just being in the room, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ended up watching like a YouTube stream of it, which had like an advert which kind of covered the board, but it was slightly transparent, so I was just sort of watching it through that for a bit.
I actually find the maths remarkable. You know, like the announcers who do the maths, they just know from watching, don't they? Like from the combinations of the darts or wherever it's landing, like 137, and you're like, how have you done that, mate?
Yeah, I'd be hours there trying to work out.
It's asking for a calculator on stage.
Like, if I need 100,
carry 2,
need 121. Got to finish on double. So finish on if I get that. I'm going to probably get about 32 anyway. I'm just going to throw these at the board.
Yeah, and then you just hit 3 anyway, don't you?
The Square Ball Podcast.